Hi guys, in this video we'll be looking at factors that hinder regional integration. In my last video we looked at factors that promote regional integration. Now we're going to look at the one that hinders regional integration. Okay, so first and foremost, a number of practical, economic, political and ideological factors work against regional integration, slowing down the process, really, dramatically. Now, we're going to be looking at all these factors. So first we have geography of the region, and then we have unequal distribution of resources, absence of common currency, intra-regional competition, different stages of growth and strategies for development, lack of free movement, territorial and regional demands, and loyalty. Okay, so these are the things we're going to, these are the factors rather, right, that we're going to be looking at in detail. Okay, so first up, geography of the region. Okay, what is this, right? Now, within the Caribbean, the countries are, not physically joined together, even though they are within the Caribbean Sea. Okay? Now, the simple fact that the countries of the Caribbean are physically separated, that hinders the process of regional integration because it makes it harder to create networks of physical linkage, like for such essential such as telecommunication, internet, and energy distribution, light, water, whatever it is. So because they're not joined, that can cause hindrance to regional integration. Okay, all right. Also, travel between countries, it's difficult because they're not really joined. And also send freight, mail and packages. So you get the point. Okay, so that's it for geography of the region. Because as you can see down here, you can see Jamaica here and you can see Trinidad in the map right there. It's very far from, see the Greater Antilles and the Lesser Antilles there. They're not joined together, even though they're in the Caribbean Sea. Okay, moving on. Next up, unequal distribution of resources. Now, some countries are not rich in natural resources, right? Now, this might cause them to, develop at a slower rate than countries which are resource rich, right? What do we mean by this? Now, the resources available to Caribbean countries that can be, exploited for, economic benefit are not distributed evenly. And that's not really their fault, they're natural resources. So it's just that some countries really don't have the rich resources, while some countries, like Trinidad has oil, right? So resource rich countries are, able to expand their economy and develop more quickly, right? So regional integration prompts a question, of how much responsibility such a country has in terms of maintaining the economic and, social development of countries, without similar resources, and which, have therefore made less progress in the process of development. So it can cause a very big problem, right? So that is why it's underneath factors that hinder regional integration, right? So it hinders it from, all right. Next up, we're going to look at absence of common currency. Okay, what is this? Now, these really, all the countries within the Caribbean region does not use the same currency. I guess by now we all know that. And that can also cause, hindrance to regional integration. Now, what is this? proponents of, integration suggest that, a common currency would bring many benefits to the region as a result of efficiencies and transparency in both financial and commercial transactions, right? So a common currency would, like reduce transaction costs for intra-regional trade or, foreign investments and remittances, right? And also, a common currency would also make prices clear and transparent, since there would be no need to like convert from one currency to another. And also, a common currency would increase confidence in the currency's exchange rate, right? Now, which can, help to encourage investment within the countries, right? Now, last but not least, a common currency would improve efficiencies in financial markets, right? Now, a common currency would also, add to a sense of regional identity, okay? So this is what a common currency does. But instead, all the countries have, based on what I know, other countries have different currencies, okay? So that, interferes with regional integration, okay? Moving on to intra-regional competition. What is this? Now, intra-regional competition. Now, countries within the Caribbean region, compete with each other due to the fact that most of their products for export are similar, and they compete for the same market, right? Okay, now the lack of diversification in Caribbean economies, right, has two main effects. First, it limits the effect of intra-regional trade in, stimulating a large amount of economic growth and development, right? Second, it means that Caribbean countries are competing with one another in the global market, since the products they hope to, export are similar, right? Now, devising acceptable strategies that would perhaps see, one country decreasing or even discontinuing production of a certain product is challenging, right? Now, countries also compare with one another in trying to attract business investment from within and outside, the region. And sometimes a business looking to develop in the Caribbean are multinational corporations, right? So they're often attracted by the possibilities of, favorable production costs, lower wages, and cheaper land rentals, and the rest, right? Now, cheap labor is not the only factor that helps, right? This is not the only factor that helps the multinational corporations, right? Now, to really determine where they will locate, right? So that is investment there, and countries who cannot provide this, they can lose an investment, Anyway, now companies will not want to know that there's a reliable or suitably, qualified workforce of sufficient size. Now, they will also look for good governance of the country and a safe and stable society, and will also consider aspects of business regulation and tax laws. So, based on all of that, that's where they will invest, right? So, that's a competition because, as I said before, most of the Caribbean countries offer the same products, and so go after the same market. Okay. Moving on. Next, different stages of growth and strategies for development. I'm seeing where a part of this is eaten off. But anyway, so it's different stages of growth and strategies for development. All right. What is this? Now, the countries within the Caribbean have different ways and means of developing their country. All right, what do I mean by this? Economic and social development processes, right, processes like, happen at a different pace in each country, right? Because it's a different country, so it happens at a different pace, right? Now, this can cause problems for integration because of concern over the distribution of benefits and burdens for different countries. Now, some fear that, smaller LDCs will not be able to take part in economic integration simply because they have a smaller economy and fewer resources, as I said before. So it can cause a big problem because they don't really have anything to contribute, right? So there's a possibility that the MDCs will have more to offer in attracting outside investment, and so will, simply continue to be ahead of the development process. So I wonder if you see what I'm saying. I'm saying that persons who are at a lesser advantage, investors will not come in and invest in that country because it has nothing much to offer, because they are lesser developed. So the more developed countries will always have investors. All right. Now, that those from the MDCs may believe that they have to make a greater contribution and bear greater responsibility, which could be seen as unfair, right? Now, the income gap among Caribbean countries is quite large. The economies of a smaller country, right, rely heavily on tourism and international financial service provision, right? Now, larger nations have other resources to exploit and have the export of minerals, fuels, and agricultural commodities as important elements of their economies. But the lesser developed countries always, rely more on tourism, right? Okay. So moving on to lack of free movement. What is this really? All right. So this is really the inability to travel from one place to another within the Caribbean region freely. Okay, what do I mean by this? This is really, being able to travel to other Caribbean countries without being harassed. Okay, for example, right now, Jamaica and Trinidad, there, for example, right? Even though this is debatable, Jamaicans say that they are being treated unfairly, while Trinidad says otherwise. But as I said before, it is up for debate, okay? Because we can't really tell. Okay, so moving on. So that's really lack of free movement. Okay, so I just gave you an example of what's going on now. Okay, moving on. Next, territorial and regional demands and loyalty, or loyalties. Sorry. Now, what is this? Okay. Now, this is really a contradiction in regards to, decisions made by CARICOM and domestic decisions made by member states. Okay? Now, political integration probably, proves most difficult for people to accept, right? Since this concerns how much, power each country has over decisions that directly affect domestic laws and society. Now, there are two extreme situations which describe, approaches to this issue. Firstly, there is supranationalism, which is an approach that sees, national members of an organization, delegate power to an independent institution, right? And in this case, the CARICOM Secretariat. So you'd use that as an example, right? Now, decisions taken by the independent institution often have direct effects on domestic laws within all the countries of the organization, right? Hope you're understanding, okay? Now, secondly, there is the intergovernmental approach, where control and power remain with, member states, and decision making takes place through anonymous vote, right? Now, the Conference of Head of State, right, is an example of the, intergovernmental approach, right? Now, these two extreme situations operate at the same time within CARICOM and to different degrees, right? Now, integration requires individuals, governments, and institutions to shift their allegiance from being only towards nation states to encompass the region as a whole. Okay, guys? I hope I'm not confusing you, but here ends the end of my video. Okay? Now, for those who have not yet watched any of my other videos, you can go back so this whole video make a lot more sense to you. So there you can check out all the other videos that I have there. Okay? And thanks for watching. And for those who have subscribed to me, thanks for your subscription. And for those who have not yet subscribed, just subscribe, okay? And the reason why you're really subscribing is to get to know when I release a new video. Just in case you're doing this subject or you know somebody else who is doing this subject, you can recommend to them, or you can share my video, you can like it. And in the comment section, don't hesitate to put any comment there. Just put the comment there. Ask me whatever it is you want to ask in regards to the topic. Okay? And thanks again, guys. Bye.